I never imagined I'd meet an alien species that made humans look like fragile, second-rate creatures, but that was before I encountered her. The first time I saw Queen Velara, I froze. She was nearly 8 feet tall, her carapace shimmering with iridescent colors I couldn't name, and her eyes glowed with a violet intensity that made my chest tighten. I had been assigned to the research outpost on Selenis Prime to monitor first contact negotiations. I thought diplomacy would be in a conference room, exchanging data logs and polite bows. I was wrong. The Valens had long considered humanity laughably inferior. Their biologists studied us as one would study a curious insect, noting our frailties and limitations. When they heard rumors of human adaptability, they chuckled. But rumors weren't enough. Apparently, it required a first-hand demonstration. That demonstration, as I would soon discover, would involve me. Alone in a high-security chamber with the alien queen herself. I was led into the central chamber, a vast circular room with walls that pulsed faintly with living energy. At the center sat Queen Velara on a throne made of intertwining crystalline roots, her wings partially unfurled like a predator ready to strike. She regarded me with a mixture of curiosity and amusement. "A human," she said, her voice a deep, resonant vibration that made the air tremble. "They sent you." I nodded, trying to seem confident despite the nervous thrum in my stomach. "Yes, Your Majesty." She cut me off with a soft, amused trill. "You will do." I swallowed hard. Do what? I had no idea what I had just agreed to. Weeks passed. Or maybe days. I lost track of time aboard Selenis Prime's research station. Queen Velara had allowed me to remain near her, ostensibly to study human physiology, but her questions were pointed, her observations unrelenting. She poked and prodded, not in a hostile way, but with an intensity that made every fiber of my being aware of my own physicality. She laughed once when I sneezed, and I felt my dignity crumble. Then the conversation changed. "You are resilient," she said one evening, leaning closer. Her violet eyes examined my hands, my face, the curve of my spine. "Tell me, human, could you survive what my kind requires for continuation?" I blinked. Continuation. She spread her wings, a motion both graceful and threatening. "The species must blend. Stronger, faster, more adaptable. We require a mate who can endure, not merely survive. You would amuse me if you failed." I laughed nervously, not sure if I should be scared or honored. "And you think a human could?" "Do not underestimate yourselves," she interrupted sharply. "Your kind is fragile, yes, but there is a spark we do not possess. Curiosity. Drive. Willingness to endure. Curiosity can survive where strength alone fails." It wasn't a compliment exactly, but I could feel the tension shift. For the first time, I sensed the possibility of mutual recognition rather than judgment. Then came the incident that changed everything. It was a containment test. Queen Velara asked me to accompany her into the breeding chamber, a place humans were strictly forbidden. I had assumed, foolishly, that the term breeding was metaphorical. It was not. The chamber was a vast expanse of bioluminescent flora, the air thick with pheromones that made my head spin. "Step forward," she commanded. I obeyed, though my heart raced. "Do not fear. You are suitable. But your limits will be tested." I had always prided myself on endurance, but nothing prepared me for the sensation of her physiology interacting with mine. The Valens method was intimate, but unlike anything human. Energy flowed between us, a current that bypassed nerves and muscles and seemed to bond mind and body simultaneously. My initial instinct was to resist, to retreat, but her presence was overwhelming, not violent, yet impossible to ignore. Hours passed? Or was it minutes? The chamber shifted, the flora pulsing with our combined biochemistry. She laughed at my reactions, a deep rolling sound that made the walls vibrate. "You think this is mere physical?" she asked. "No, human. This is survival. This is adaptation. You are learning what your kind has never faced." I emerged exhausted, trembling but still standing. And then for the first time I noticed a change in her demeanor. "I underestimated you," she admitted, her voice softer, almost human in its timbre. "Perhaps your kind is capable of more than I imagined." Weeks became months. My days and nights blurred together in a cycle of study, endurance tests, and moments of quiet conversation. I learned that the Valen's reproduction was not purely physical. It required a melding of energies, a synchronization of life forces that could last for days. They had never considered a human capable of sustaining such an exchange. Then came the revelation. One morning Velara summoned me urgently. She was pacing, her wings half-furled, her eyes bright with something I couldn't name. "I have unusual news," she said. "It appears you have succeeded in a way I did not anticipate." I frowned. "What do you mean?" Her mandibles quivered. "A sign of excitement or anxiety. Human. I am carrying your seed." I blinked. "You what?" She laughed, a high lilting trill that sounded almost musical. "You have impregnated me. My kind has never experienced this with a human." I did not believe it possible. I laughed at the very idea. Yet, here we are. I felt my stomach drop. Fear, awe, and something deeper, responsibility. The Valen's offspring were not just children. They were carriers of their species' future. And now, somehow, my DNA had become part of that future. I don't know what to say," I admitted. "You will say nothing," she replied with a smile that both reassured and intimidated. "You will adapt as your kind does. You will learn what it is to be more." The months that followed were surreal. I observed her pregnancy with a mixture of scientific fascination and personal dread. Her body changed in ways that were both beautiful and alien. Energy patterns I could barely detect shimmered around her, pulses of light tracing the growth of our offspring. And through it all, Velara became softer. She allowed moments of humor, moments of camaraderie. Occasionally she touched my arm, a gesture of connection rather than command. Then the day came. The birthing chamber was vast, filled with glowing fungi and crystalline growths. Velara's wings were fully extended, her body radiating life energy. I stood beside her, unsure whether my role was ceremonial or practical. "It is time," she said. Her eyes met mine, and I felt an unspoken trust pass between us. The birth was unlike anything I could have imagined. There was no pain as humans understand it. Instead, waves of energy pulsed outward, resonating through the chamber. Our child emerged, a hybrid of human and Valen physiology, standing 3 feet tall, its carapace shimmering with hints of violet and gold. It blinked at us with enormous, intelligent eyes. Velara looked at me, her mandibles twitching in what I could only interpret as a smile. "Your kind is remarkable," she said softly. "Perhaps more than I ever allowed myself to believe." I knelt, reaching out to touch our child. It responded immediately, a warmth spreading through my body as though it recognized me before I even touched it. And in that moment I understood the truth of the Valen's fascination with humans. We were fragile, yes, but resilient. Curious. Tenacious. Adaptable. We endured because we sought to understand, to connect, to survive, and sometimes to thrive in ways the universe never anticipated. Velara and I spent the following years preparing for the integration of our child into both human and Valen society. Diplomats debated the implications, scientists marveled at the hybrid biology, and I learned to navigate a world I had never truly believed I would touch. The alien queen who had once laughed at the idea of breeding with a human had now become my partner in the most profound sense. Together we forged a new path, one that merged species, cultures, and destinies. And through it all, I never forgot the first day I met her. The 8-foot queen with eyes that glowed like violet stars. She had tested me, challenged me, and ultimately chosen me. In return, I had learned what it truly meant to endure, to adapt, and to become more than human. The universe was vast, full of wonders beyond imagination. And sometimes the most extraordinary miracle of all was not in the stars, but in the bond between two beings from entirely different worlds.